This message is inspired by the voices of nature. Nature existed long before humanity took its first breath. For billions of years, Earth evolved without the need for roads, machines, or even language. Volcanoes erupted, rivers carved valleys, forests grew and fell, and life adapted in ways more complex than any algorithm ever created. The systems that sustain life, photosynthesis, ocean currents, nutrient cycles, have functioned with astonishing precision without a single human hand involved. Trees don't need cities to grow. Oceans don't need ships to swell. The wind doesn't ask permission to blow. Nature operates on rules that are far older and far more stable than any human law or invention. And yet, modern civilization often carries the assumption that we are in control, that Earth somehow exists to serve our needs, our economies, our ambitions. This is a dangerous illusion, because while we may build skyscrapers and launch satellites, we remain entirely dependent on the natural systems we too often exploit. We need clean air to breathe, fertile soil to grow food, fresh water to survive, and a stable climate to thrive. Every cell in our bodies, every breath we take, every bite of food we consume is made possible by the silent, often invisible work of nature. Strip that away and our technological advancements mean nothing. Our Wi-Fi won't replace oxygen. No app can recreate the rainforest. Our survival is intricately tied to systems we didn't create, and increasingly, we are pushing those systems to the brink. The belief that we are separate from nature or superior to it isn't just misguided, it's existentially dangerous. Nature doesn't depend on us. Species have gone extinct before. Landscapes have shifted. The Earth has reset itself countless times through fire, flood, and freeze. If pushed too far, it will again, or without us. Nature doesn't speak in human languages, but it communicates constantly through signs, rhythms, and reactions. When rain stops falling in regions once rich with water, when oceans rise and swallow coastlines, when forests burn hotter and longer than ever before, nature is sending a message. The cracks in dry soil, the silence where bees once buzzed, the coral reefs fading from color to pale white. These are not coincidences. They are warnings written in elements we used to understand, but now ignore. We have replaced sensitivity to the natural world with screens, noise, and deadlines. Yet nature's voice grows louder through the very systems we are destabilizing. Droughts speak of imbalance. Floods scream of excess. Wildfires rage with the heat of disrupted cycles. Insects disappearing, birds migrating at the wrong time, plants blooming too early. Each is a fragment of a global language reminding us that something is off. Nature doesn't punish, it responds. And every storm, every dry spell, every species lost is a rest to the pressure we continue to place on the planet. The Earth is not vengeful, but it is responsive, and its resilience is not infinite. What once were seasonal fluctuations are now extreme events. What once healed in decades now takes centuries. And all along, nature is speaking in a language we used to be fluent in. Observation, respect, rhythm, balance. Indigenous cultures have long understood this, treating Earth as a living, breathing entity rather than a resource to exploit. Somewhere along the way, modern civilization stopped listening. But the voice of nature hasn't gone silent. It's rising through melting ice, through polluted skies, through extinct species, asking not for attention but for understanding. Whether or not we choose to hear it will determine the future we inherit. Every ecosystem on Earth, no matter how small or remote, plays a critical role in maintaining the delicate balance that allows human life to thrive. The rainforest, often called the lungs of the planet, produces the oxygen we breathe and absorbs vast amounts of carbon dioxide. Wetlands purify our water and act as natural flood barriers, while coral reefs support a quarter of all marine species and protect coastlines from erosion. Pollinators like bees and butterflies make it possible for crops to bear fruit, linking tiny wings to global food systems. Even the unseen microbes in the soil determine the fertility of our land and the nutrition in our food. These systems don't operate in isolation. They are interconnected, forming a complex web where every strand supports the whole. When one system collapses, it sends ripples through others, creating a chain reaction that eventually impacts us. Remove the bees, and crop yields fall. Pollute the oceans, and fisheries collapse. Burn the forests, and global temperatures rise. For a long time, these ecosystems functioned silently, without applause, without recognition. But now, with deforestation accelerating, species vanishing, and climate systems destabilizing, their importance is no longer invisible. It is urgent and undeniable. We depend on their resilience to maintain ours. When the air becomes unbreathable, the water undrinkable, and the land uninhabitable, it won't matter how advanced our technology is. No invention can replace the cooling power of trees, the filtration of wetlands, or the productivity of fertile soil. These natural systems are not optional features of the planet. They are the life support machines we rely on every day. And yet, many of them are being dismantled faster than they can recover. The question is not whether nature matters, but whether we still recognize just how deeply our survival depends on it. Human activity is disrupting natural systems that have evolved over billions of years with precision, balance, and resilience. Every road paved through a forest, every river diverted for industry, every ton of carbon released into the atmosphere nudges nature further away from its finely tuned equilibrium. Climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is a present reality shaped largely by fossil fuel combustion, mass deforestation, and relentless consumption. As glaciers retreat and sea levels rise, ecosystems are being forced to adapt at speeds they were never designed to handle. Coral reefs bleach and die under rising temperatures, leading to cascading effects on marine life and coastal communities. Species that once coexisted in harmony are now driven to extinction as their habitats shrink or vanish altogether. The balance that once defined the natural world is shifting, and with it, the foundation of our existence. Agriculture, once sustained by predictable weather patterns and fertile soils, now faces uncertainty and decline due to drought, floods, and soil degradation. Forests, which served as carbon sinks and biodiversity hotspots, are being cleared for short-term gains, undermining long-term stability. This disruption is not happening in isolation, it's systemic. Every imbalance in one ecosystem affects others. The loss of pollinators impacts food security. Ocean acidification alters the chemistry of life underwater. Melting permafrost releases ancient greenhouse gases, accelerating the problem we created. Nature's harmony is unraveling not because of natural cycles, but because of our choices. The deeper we push, the more fragile these systems become. The illusion that we are separate from nature allows this disruption to continue unchecked. But the truth is inescapable: we are entangled in every thread of this web. When we disrupt it, we disrupt ourselves, often in ways we can't fully predict until the damage is already done. Our survival depends not on conquering the earth, but on restoring balance with it. For centuries, progress was defined by domination, taming rivers, clearing forests, extracting resources as quickly and efficiently as possible. But this mindset has left us teetering on the edge of ecological collapse. The very systems that sustain life are being pushed beyond their limits, and the cost is becoming impossible to ignore. Climate change is not a distant scenario, it's unfolding in real time, affecting everything from weather patterns to food supply chains. Biodiversity loss is not just about endangered species, it's about the unraveling of ecosystems that provide clean air, fertile soil, and disease regulation. Yet the illusion of separation between humans and nature persists. We act as if we are above the natural world rather than embedded within it. But the truth is that our health, our economies, and even our sense of purpose are deeply linked to the state of the environment. When forests thrive, we thrive. When oceans are healthy, communities prosper. When pollinators flourish, crops yield abundance. Restoring balance does not mean returning to a primitive way of life. It means aligning our technologies, policies, and behaviors with the rhythms of the natural world. It means designing cities that work with ecosystems instead of against them. It means consuming with awareness, understanding that every purchase leaves a footprint. It means protecting the rights of rivers, forests, and the species that call them home. Restoration is not passive, it's active and intentional. It requires listening to indigenous wisdom, respecting scientific insight, and recognizing that progress and preservation are not opposites but allies. The planet has shown us what's possible when we pause, when we care, when we act in harmony instead of opposition. Balance is not a utopia, it's a responsibility. When the world paused, nature responded. In 2020, during a global lockdown, skies cleared over cities where smog had once been the norm. Rivers turned blue again, flowing clean without industrial waste pouring in. Birds returned to places they hadn't been seen in decades, their songs echoing in newly quiet streets. This brief and unintended experiment revealed something extraordinary: nature's ability to heal is far greater and faster than most imagined. It doesn't take centuries for recovery to begin. It can start in days, even hours, once human interference slows. In cities like Delhi and Los Angeles, air quality improved so drastically that mountain ranges became visible for the first time in years. Satellite images showed sharp reductions in nitrogen dioxide levels across industrial corridors. Wildlife ventured into urban areas not out of curiosity, but because human presence had long kept them away. The moment we stepped back, ecosystems began to breathe again. This was not an accident, it was a demonstration. A reminder that the damage we cause is not irreversible, but the window to act is narrowing. Nature doesn't need grand speeches or elaborate strategies to recover. What it needs is space-time and a break from relentless pressure. The resilience of Earth is built into its DNA. Forests regrow. Coral reefs can rebound. Species can return from the brink. But that recovery depends on our willingness to stop pushing the planet past its limits. What we witnessed during the global pause wasn't just cleaner air or clearer water. It was possibility. The possibility that if we change course, if we reduce emissions, protect habitats, and restore balance, the Earth will meet us halfway. The power of nature is not just in its beauty or diversity, but in its readiness to heal if only given the chance.